Welcome back. In this video we're going to make this watercolor cityscape. There's going to be a couple skills that we're going to be working on, and these are what they are. Number one, we're going to review and remember how to do overlapping. You can see in this picture how I've done the building so that like this one is overlapping behind this front one, and this one over here is overlapping behind that one. And we looked at the PowerPoint, and in the PowerPoint we saw that buildings in cities most of the time overlap because of the way that they're designed, one being in front of the other. That'll not only is that reality, but that will give our picture a nice interesting look and show us that some things are nearer to us and some things are farther away. Next we're going to talk about repetition and pattern. Okay, we've talked about repetition before in one of our other lessons this year, and we talked about repetition being anytime you repeat something but don't necessarily make a pattern. So like if you repeat the same strokes, here's the letter R in green, and then a little bit of red there kind of repeating the lines, and then orange repeating the lines. So I repeated things but didn't necessarily make a pattern. So like right here, I've repeated buildings one next to each other, but I didn't really make a pattern, so to speak. But sometimes you use repetition to make a pattern. Now we have talked a lot about pattern, that sometimes you can have a pattern of squares just all in a row. You could have different patterns of shapes. You could have different patterns of colors. And in this picture, the first thing that obviously stands out to everyone is the pattern of the windows here inside of the buildings. Okay. The next thing that we're going to talk about is symmetrical reflection. Okay, and we've talked about the word symmetrical. Can anyone raise their hand and remind us what it is? Yeah, right. Symmetrical is whenever anything on one side is exactly the same as the other side. In the past, we talked about butterflies, right? And we talked about that if you divide it down the middle, the one side is exactly like the other side. And in this picture, you can see that these buildings here that are up in the sky or up on the ground are exact reflections of what's in the water. So a reflection, whether it's in water or in a mirror, is exactly symmetrical to whatever it's reflecting. So that in this picture is called symmetrical reflection. Let's say that together. Good. The last skill we're going to talk about today is burnishing. Now, burnishing is when you take, it's a skill quite often referred to as ceramics, because you use ceramics and you can use a tool to smooth out clay. But today we're going to use it in this sense. If I take an oil pastel and I make a nice, thick, deep, dark line, or shape rather, like that, and I fold this paper over, watch this, I fold the paper over like that, and then I take my scissors, notice there's a little hard edge of plastic here on my scissors, and I take that hard handle and I push down and rub it back and forth and burnish. The color transfers onto the other side. Now it's a little lighter, but the color transfers because the oil pastel is sticky and oily. And so that action there is called burnishing, because you're rubbing a hard surface against the outside of something. Okay, and that's kind of what burnishing means. So that is the one thing that we're doing there for the burnishing. And the last one I would say would be the warm and cool colors. We've talked in the past about warm and cool colors, and we said red, orange, and yellow on that side of the color wheel are our warm colors, and on the other side, green, blue, and violet on the other side of our color wheel are the cool colors. And today you can notice by looking at my windows that I've only used the warm colors, and on the outlines of my buildings I've used only the cool colors. Okay, so that's kind of a way that we're going to break up our colors in the picture. So to get started, you're going to need a picture or a paper that looks like this, a normal 60-pound paper, and you're going to write your name. I'm going to write Mr. Lundgren. And then you're going to write your teacher's name if you can. And then give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Good. Now you're going to take your paper, flip it over, and you're going to fold it the hot dog way. You're going to take the bottom edge and fold it up to the top like that. So you've got a long hot dog bun-like shape, and then unfold it so that you have that fold line in the center. Give me a thumbs up when you got that done. Good. Now what you're going to do is we're going to make the outline of the center line right down the center there. So I'm going to take a nice dark blue color. You don't have to use blue. You can use whatever you want. And I'm just going to trace right along that fold line like that. Make it nice and thick oil pastel. Okay, good. Now that you have that done, we're going to make our first 3 buildings together. Okay, pick an oil pastel, I don't care what color, some kind of a cool color, because we're going to make our buildings cool and our windows warm. So here's a kind of greenish color. I'm going to make my first 3 buildings. Now, we want to leave just a little bit of room up here for the sky, but we want our buildings to be pretty big. So I'm going to take my first building and put it right here, a little off center, and I'm going to make a rectangle, just like this. There's my first rectangle. When you get that first rectangle done, give me a thumbs up. Great. Now we're going to do our second building. I'm going to start right at the side here, and I'm going to draw a horizontal line and then a straight line down. And you can notice that my buildings are about 2 to 3 fingers wide. Your fingers are a little smaller, so let's say that yours are about 3 fingers to 4 fingers wide. Okay, because your fingers are a little smaller. Now that you have that second building done, you're going to do the third building. The third building goes like this. You take your oil pastel, start at the top of this middle building, and you're going to draw a straight line up, vertical, a straight line horizontal, and then a straight line down, like that. And you've got now a building overlapped behind that second building. Okay, now I'm going to change to another color. I'm going to get another cool color. Let's see, here's a blue, a lighter blue than my other blue that I used. And I'm going to make some more buildings now. Okay, you can make your buildings wherever you choose. Try to make them between 3 and 4 fingers wide. And I'm going to start one building here. I'm going to put another building over on this side, a taller one. Okay, and now I'm going to put some other buildings in. I'm going to use a lighter blue. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to use a gray. And then I'm going to use a dark purple. Okay, on this one, watch this. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to put a straight line down here. And then I'm going to put a triangle up at the top, like that. Okay, and then over here I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a straight line up, and I'm going to put a triangle up like that, and then run it right off the edge of the page so that it looks like my building is off the edge of my page. Then I'm going to grab my purple over here. I'm going to draw a horizontal line that way, a horizontal line that way, and I'm going to draw a triangle up like that to make the top of my building. So now I have bunches of buildings overlapped. I'm even going to take one more building, and I'm going to overlap it behind everything. I'm going to do a straight line up there, a straight line up here, and a horizontal line right there, and put another building behind there. Maybe even one more. Let's be a little inventive here, Mr. Lundgren. And we're going to put one more building right behind there, hiding behind all of those buildings. You can see it overlapped now behind this building and behind that one. Okay, when you get your cityscape outline done, give me a thumbs up. Good. Now, you have your hands in your laps and you're just watching. What you're going to do is you're going to take your paper and you're going to fold it in half like this. And you can kind of faintly see the outlines of my buildings. You can see there's a line here and a line there. And at this point, we're going to do our burnishing. But watch how I do it. I'm not just going to burnish everywhere. I'm going to burnish just right over my building edges. So like right here, and I know there's the building there because I can see it. And I'm just going to kind of burnish right over the edges of my building. So be careful while you do this, and make sure you do it right over the lines of where your buildings are, because you don't want to waste your time burnishing all the paper, burnishing the whole entire paper, and not really even getting anywhere with it. Okay, when you're burnishing, make sure that you're using the hard edge of your plastic on your scissors. Don't use the soft rubber part like this, because then that just ruins the rubber part, and it doesn't burnish very well because it's not a hard surface. So make sure that you're burnishing with that hard surface. Then when you open up, it should look like this. Okay, now you can do your own burnishing. Good, now we're going to work on our windows. Okay, since I chose all cool colors for my buildings, I'm going to choose all warm colors for my windows. So here's a yellow, here's an orange, or an orangey yellow, here's a orangey red, and let's see, here's a pink, because that's red with white in it, and here's a red. So there's a bunch of warm colors for me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this time to just do one building. We'll do one building together, then I'll let you go on your own. Okay, so watch me do this one building. My first building, windows are always, in city type buildings, are always in a row vertically and a row horizontally. Usually you call a column up, straight up and down, and a row side to side. So they're always vertically straight up and down and horizontally side to side. So I'm just going to take my oil pastel and make a little rectangle by coloring like up and down 1, 2, 3. And then another one, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's my 4 windows. Then I'm going to move over just a little bit and make another column like that. Okay, and then I'm going to move over here and do one more column like that. And I've got my windows done for that building. Okay, and that's all you need to do. Keep your buildings simple. Keep your windows simple, so that we don't get something that's so complex the watercolor doesn't look good with it. All right, so here we go. Mr. Lundgren, you can fast forward this so that the kids can see it, but then the kids, you guys are going to work independently. So here's me finishing my windows. Okay, good. Now that we've got that done, I'm going to do two more things. I'm going to put some little stars up in the sky just by making an X and then by making a T. I'm going to put a little moon over here by making a C shape and then by making another C shape right next to it. Okay, and then I'm going to put another star up here. And I'm going to put some little lights on this building. And I'll put a little light on that building. Okay, now you're going to take your paper once you have all the windows in, and you're going to fold it over and burnish it like this. At this point, you're going to need to burnish the whole thing. Okay, so as you burnish your paper, make sure that you push down really hard. Make sure that you don't miss any spaces as you're burnishing, so that you burnish all of those windows in and all of the places in all over. As you're doing this, make sure that you're not wiggling the table too much so that other people, if they're still working, don't get all scribbly and screwed up. Okay, so make sure that you burnish your whole paper. Burnish it really well, push hard. Don't forget those stars in the sky and the little lights on the buildings. Okay, and then when you get done, it should look something like that, so that when we do our watercoloring next week, you're able to put that in. If you would like to, and we have a little bit more time, you can take your oil pastels and enhance a couple of the lights in the water. Okay, if I just take this and I enhance a couple lights in the water and a couple building outlines in the water, that's going to look really nice next week when we do our watercoloring. So you can take a little bit, and notice how I'm not doing the full lines, I'm just doing kind of half lines here and there to just kind of enhance some of the outlines of my buildings. Okay, like that, and it's just going to kind of help bring that out, and it's a good way to see where you've done the lines and where you can enhance those colors in the water again, and maybe even up here in the moon, because that's going to be really bright, and the stars in the sky are going to be really bright. But you'll be able to see where to draw because you've transferred that over using your burnishing skill. So that is how to finish the oil pastel cityscape for our watercolor cityscape that we'll finish with watercolors next week.